Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode with Pretty Smart. Hey, ladies, how's it going?
Yay, good.
Hey,
Okay, hey, it's Tuesday, but hey, let's
it's
wake up a
Tuesday.
little bit. It's Tuesday. We're getting ready to go into Hump Day. Speaking of Hump Day, may seem like a little weird spin-off.
Lena, I did not throw you under the bus. You're just good at what you do. That's all, girl. All I need you to do is see
Oh,
coming
that's
from a
so sweet.
hi.
Baby, I love you. I love you.
I love you too.
Hey,
Thank
Stephanie.
sorry.
Can you hear us, Stephanie? Can you hear us? No? Hmm. Go out and
You
try it
look
again.
great.
You
She
look
does.
great,
She looks
though. You
beautiful.
look great. Okay, sounds good. But back to what we were talking about. So I was saying Tuesday is next to follow is Hump Day. And I was thinking of Hump Day. Let's talk about the vulnerabilities because hump, we think about people doing inappropriate things, and sometimes those inappropriate things are done to people that they target or they think are weaker than them or they have some kind of power over them. So, like, in my idea of the whole topic of the situation is like, why do you think people feel like they have that kind of power over people that they can just, oh, I can do what I want to?
I mean, if you want my opinion, I think it started with money. I mean, I guess there's so many different situations. It could be, trafficking women, um, and kids and all sorts of things. Is that what we're talking about? Like it's the basically the
Yeah.
unsafeness that we have. Like,
Yeah.
there's so many things now where women have to be careful about being alone in certain places.
Yeah.
So you're like, where does that start from? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like money, greed, power.
Yeah.
I mean, sex trafficking alone brings in 150 billion a year. It's horrible. I just watched a movie and it was crazy on all of that. Sound of Freedom.
What's
I'm
the
sure
name
you
of the
guys
movie?
have heard of it. And it's like those kind of things. It's what motivates people to do that. I don't know. It's just the worst of
Well,
humanity.
I don't know. I don't want to say it's money per se because it's not just grown people. It's kids too, thinking that they can prey on other kids. For instance, we were at the park not too long ago, and I was talking to a parent, and she was just saying how a little boy thought it was okay, and the school made it seem like it was okay for him to pull her pants down to see if she was wearing a pad at 11 years. Well, she's 9, he's 12. So
That's
it's not so much, right. It's not so much, is it money? I think it's just a boys will be boys type
no,
thing.
no, no,
No.
no. I
No.
hate
I
that.
hate that
Girl,
thing, but that is what they
don't.
will put out there. Boys will be boys, and that's not the case. Like
But
there's
what
a
is the
behavior.
definition? What's the definition of boys will be boys? Because if that's, I mean, boys can do whatever they want. Is that what that means?
It
Like
means,
Yeah,
yeah, it does.
that's the
because
way. Yeah,
that.
Literally, I watched this video of a pastor saying that he was talking about women if they wear short things and they get,
yeah.
R-word, that they deserve it because boys will be boys.
Wow.
And I was like,
Okay.
it was a, yep.
So
Mm.
we basically, us as women or the female gender, have to basically have the only ones have self control. That what they're saying? They can just be animals, not
Basically,
have basic human instincts, and just say, okay, this isn't my body.
A
I
yeah,
shouldn't put my
robot.
hands on it.
A
yeah.
So
robot.
yeah, it's to me it seems as though they make it okay when it's not okay. And
Yep.
there are men that really say, okay, this is not okay. But then you have women
Yep.
that are saying, boys will be boys. Like my son's 5, but if he comes talking to me about girls, Like he had the conversation. He was like, "Mommy, why don't you have the same thing I have?" That's a conversation that I can have with him because but you have to know how to tailor it to that age. Like you need to be going
Yeah.
there, giving them more than what they need. Just be able to just be there to listen and answer questions. But just like you said, shunning them away and like I don't want to talk about that. It puts you in an uncomfortable position, and then you create these. I don't want to call them monsters, but traumatized people that traumatize other people.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with all that. And also, I think apart from children and women, there are also other people that are vulnerable, like in this world. Especially when it comes to like people with minorities, like
Right.
elderly people, people with
Mm-hmm.
like disabilities.
Yep.
That those people are, especially when it comes to like things like if you're intellectual, like you have an intellectual disability, mental health disability, all those people are really vulnerable. Especially if you're a woman and a child, and also if you're a man, right? So when it comes to like vulnerability and people that are targeted, with this type of situations, like it's more diverse than just children and women, but obviously women and children are the most target, like the main target audience.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
No,
I
absolutely.
agree.
I
They
agree
are the
Um,
highest
because
target audience.
me being
they
in the
are.
medical field, I see a lot of the vulnerability with the older people and the
Older
Yeah,
people.
disability people because they got the money coming in, so they got the people taking care of them, and they're just there to get the money. They're not really taking care of them, so the work is double for the nurses and the doctors if they're not
yeah,
taken care of at home. So it's horrible.
Yeah.
It all it
yeah,
really just depends on what vulnerability we're talking about. I mean, there's so many,
It is.
from,
Yep.
yeah. It is.
when I was saying to older people and being taken advantage, I mean, they're the victims of scams and vulnerability. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And
Yep.
it just really depends. There's so many different groups of people who are vulnerable in different situations.
Yep.
that is so true. And I wanted to touch on what Bianca had brought up earlier about men being in those situations where they can be targeted, they can be vulnerable. Women, sometimes we target men of power so we can get what we need to get, but also using them in like, let's just say for instance, I need to get something done. This person knows how to do it. We'll take advantage of them, and then when they need something in return, we don't reciprocate, or we may put them in a position that may not be the best for them or best outcome for them, just so we can get what we need to get. I think that's looking at the vulnerability in that way. Naiveness. Oh, they won't know. I'll just do something or say something, and
And they'll
it'll
go.
be fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it can go a little bit different directions, not just sexually, not just, in finances, but it can be emotionally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
so I'm not sure like how deep where you guys want to go, but I mean, there's so many areas that people target and people um, prey on. Like you said, race, anything. People just needing things like, oh, you need something, so I'm gonna give you this, but in return, you have to do this. Keeping
Right.
people on a leash.
It could go that far if the person is really, dialed into it. It could go as far as being a narcissist.
When it comes to like narcissists, they're very like intelligent people. So
Mm-hmm.
like you can't even tell that you're going through emotional abuse. And
Right.
that's the thing, like you're so vulnerable but you don't know you're vulnerable because they're still really sweet to you, they're really nice, very charming, and then
Mm-hmm.
at the end of it it'll take you such a long time for you to
To
actually
figure it
get to
out.
know that
Yep.
you're being emotional abused, you're actually like losing yourself, which is like the worst thing anyone can do, because you just
Right.
end up losing like your individual self, and you just don't
Losing
know what to
yourself.
do. Yeah, and then your friends tell you or your family tells you like like this person is not treating you
It's not
well.
good for you. Right.
That's
Yeah,
true.
You deny everything that they
exactly.
say. Yep. I've been
Well,
there.
Yeah.
I do have to say,
Been
not
there.
all narcissists are intelligent people. Not intelligent ones. So I, I'm like, you're just a
Well,
pure narcissist without any brains. But Yeah,
Okay.
I know what you mean.
Good to know.
My mom's a
Yeah, look
therapist,
after.
so like I was telling you,
Awesome.
I've said this before. Like she was the one that, like, you know how like some parents teach their kids how to, shoot guns or play basketball or do sports. My mom
Hmm.
taught me how to catch a narcissist. Like,
Okay, those are
Smart
good skills.
mom.
Nice.
Right. I would take
Yes.
those skills. I
yeah,
don't know how to shoot a
Right.
gun. So.
it's okay. You'll still sometimes come across them and want to ignore the sign.
This is
Sure.
true.
So
This
I
is
guess
true.
it's really important to get to know like what actually you need to look for when it comes to people that are vulnerable, like
Yes.
things to do to avoid being into such situations, like red flags, right? There's so many type of red
Right.
flags you could look into depending on the situation. If you're a child, if you're a woman, if you're someone with like mental disabilities, what to do. If you're even like if you're pregnant, like pregnant women are so vulnerable in this
They
world,
are.
and a lot of things can cause like issues and just making them be so vulnerable. Like their fetus is also really important. Like
Hmm.
also like people with chronic diseases, they're
Yeah.
also
Yep.
very, very vulnerable.
Yep.
I'm glad you mentioned about the medical side. I know Adriana touched on it a little bit, but those people in the medical field, especially
Very.
pregnant women, and I'm
Yep.
speaking from being a doula, they say everything that their women want or they feel, oh, it's just hormones. So they write it off, and they get
Mhm.
to do whatever they want to do to these women. But no, not if I'm in the room. But they can do. They feel like they can do whatever they want to do because oh, it's just hormones. Or you're sick. You don't know what you're talking about. It's sickening, is what it is. But they make it feel as though when you're at your lowest point, you're weak or you don't have a choice. You don't have a voice, but you always have
Right.
a voice. No
Yep.
matter who you are, no matter how old you are, no matter what you're going through, you have a voice. And if you can't figure out how to speak up, find somebody to help speak up for you. Like
I agree.
don't
I
Yeah.
totally
don't
agree
just let
because
it happen.
I tell my patients that all the time. You know your body, so you make sure that you tell that doctor or that nurse what's going on with you from your perspective. Don't let them tell you what's going on with you and give you a bunch of medicine that ain't helping.
Yeah.
So I always advocate for them.
But
I
to
love my
build off
patients.
race and what you guys were saying with race being vulnerability, I mean, Black women are the ones who suffer the
Yes.
most in Medicare because
Yep.
even when they do
Mm-hmm.
vocalize their pain and say, I'm hurting, whatever, whatever,
Mhm.
doctors take it less than what they would,
Mhm.
So that's another vulnerability thing in the medical field. So they'd be blessed to have people like you guys. You know what I mean? There
Exactly.
to advocate, but it's sad
Yes.
that not everybody does, and Black women seem to
Yeah.
experience that
They
the
do
most.
stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
I want
Yeah.
to
But
kind of
that's
touch on.
that's really unfortunate.
It is.
It is.
Um,
Yeah.
I want to kind of touch on a subject that most people don't think about. What about our convicts that are entering back into society
Wow.
after being convicted and
Very
incarcerated? Like
vulnerable.
they're very vulnerable because people know that they can't get a job anywhere else, and so they take advantage of them.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
you may have them getting paid under the table, doing some things they shouldn't do, and then they end right back up in the system because they're trying to like it's
Do
just a
better.
vicious circle
Yeah.
sometimes when you are being taken advantage of.
And
Yep.
our
And that's
system is set up for failure. It's set up
It
to make
is.
people end up back there. Like I've seen other countries and what they do and how they actually
Help
rehabilitate
them get back
people
into,
back
yeah.
into
right.
society.
Yep.
Here, you're literally thrown in to fight for your life, and like I'm sorry, it does not rehabilitate anybody. It literally makes
No.
people
No.
worse. Most of the time, like statistics are high of people who return back, and that's we fail
Yep.
so much here. Like with that,
Yes,
it's
we do.
that's because
Yeah.
our prisons and our jails have now become a private system where people make money off of it. It's just
Yep.
become a profiting thing now. So
Yeah.
it's not set up to rehabilitate people to be
Mhm.
It's
actually
not.
productive in society. It literally, I don't know. So yeah, yeah,
She's like, I'm done.
So yeah,
that's how I
that's
do
her
it.
period.
Okay, I don't know. So
Yes.
period. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
another thing, when it comes to like prisoners and people that are out of jail and everything, they've served their time. You know,
Mhm.
they can't even get like jobs that are actually help them in the society,
Oh,
and they've actually left so many. They've let's say they wasted a lot of the years, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they can't they go ahead and like apply for jobs and everything, and they can't even get like a substantial job, something sustainable, because it's
Right.
just going to be really low wage, and it's just so disappointing. I think that's another thing that ends up making them do things that they would not want to do, but that's the only thing they can do.
And then they want to
Tell them
complain and
that.
say, that's my tax dollars, but okay, so let's use our tax dollars to rehabilitate them properly so that they
Right.
come back out, they can benefit the community. Because that's why the communities are dying, because no one's coming back and putting back into them what they need. And then you
Yeah.
have the people that keep going back into the system.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
nothing here.
There's also like levels of things, and I'm sorry, it kind of bothers me that like prisoners who get out who did something whatever are treated the same as somebody who like murdered an entire
Yeah.
family.
Right.
Right.
Treated
Right.
the same. Like, I'm sorry. Like, if they messed around with drugs, who cares? That's none of my business. Like, leave
That's
them
their
alone and
lives.
let them
Right.
come back into society. I can understand the hesitation if they murdered two families and are out in society now. Like, I don't want them
Yeah.
out. I
No.
got a problem with that. But it's different when like, but usually if somebody did that, they're never seeing the days again. They're going to be
Mm-hmm.
in prison for the rest of their life.
Right.
But so those really the people who are out are the people who didn't do something like that. Like I just we don't give
No,
them a
it don't
second
make
chance,
sense.
and I think it's
Yeah.
unfair.
You just see a mark and say, oh, write them off.
Yep.
And that's
And
horrible.
What happened to the community centers?
Nobody care about them levels. No one knows what those levels mean in the
yeah,
Do y'all know
community
what they
system.
true.
They
mean?
see sex offender and that's it.
Right.
I think that's so unfair. I don't think people should
It
ever
is.
end up on a sex offenders list for peeing in public or you know what I mean? We got too many nasty people trying to hurt our kids for us to be
Right.
worried about the people peeing in public. Okay? I
Yeah,
don't see that.
exactly.
He has
Like
to pee. He has to pee.
yeah,
Let him
I,
pee. I mean, he wasn't
It's
out there saying,
nature.
hey, look at this.
you're out doing your thing and there's no toilet, you got to do what you got to do.
It's nature.
Look, we out in
Nature.
public. My little man has to pee. If there's no bathroom, he's gonna pee on the side of the street or whatever he needs to do. So
Yeah,
what you gonna do? I'm just
exactly.
saying.
Like
I
that's
mean,
just silly.
the
Yeah.
And I
pacing.
yeah. And I don't think it's fair that somebody who's a sophomore and a senior, you know what I
That
mean?
is the
Like
easiest
Right.
thing I've ever
come
heard.
on. Like that's there's you know what I mean? That's what really ruins it for the people who are actually like, there's it's such a flawed system. Period.
It is. It is. It has
Yeah.
so much gray area. I guess I could, if I want to put it that way, so much gray area that it breaks. It doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Your friend does not deserve to have their whole life ruined on the offenders list for no
Yeah,
fee.
being in public.
because
They
peeing
don't
is
like to
something
get caught.
natural. Yeah. No, it's true. Like, how can peeing be an offense? Like, honestly, like that's something that is really odd to me because
Yeah.
the fact that I'm not American, like if you're to go to, like, for instance, my country, right, and then you pee, no one's gonna arrest you. Okay, and then you're gonna go under the sexual harassment or sexual, I don't know, like,
Yeah,
yeah, sexual offender. That's just crazy, honestly. Yeah,
outrageous.
it's really
Welcome to America.
Choose not to
I
tell
I
me.
watched
I
I
feel like
watched a
we
little
take
bit of
advantage
the
of so many
show,
people.
and I I watched a little bit of the show with my mother-in-law last week, and I do feel like she's being taken advantage of. 'Cause she has dementia or something, right?
Oh, I didn't
Like
even know that. What's
I
happening with
think I know
Yeah.
she's
Well,
sick.
she has what we believe is alcohol-induced dementia, which that's
Hmm.
Okay,
reversible
right,
than
right.
having, your
The full
standard
blown,
dementia.
Okay.
right. So it does look like she's being taken advantage of, but she looks like she's can hold her own like she always has. But I can tell it's a little bit of vulnerability there because she's not there all the way.
It reminds me so much of, there was a talent I was working with, and I kept telling her mom, she's 13. Her mom kept dressing her as if she was like in her 20s, 18s, all this stuff. And I was just like, okay, you keep dressing her like that, it's not gonna end well. And she ended up getting asked out by this 31-year-old man, and the mom let them date, and I was just like,
As a mother of a daughter, no, ma'am.
no, ma'am.
No, ma'am. You are five, you will dress as five. You're six, you're dressed as six, and such. No, ma'am. No
yeah, because
makeup, none of that.
true.
Mm-mm. Nope.
Exactly.
Yeah, like the older you dress, the more I don't want to say like vulnerable because you're still vulnerable as a woman, but the older you dress, like if you're 10 and you dress as a 16-year-old, then teenagers, people that are 16-year-old or 18 or 21 would want to approach you, and it just makes the situation really horrible because you're still very naive, you're gullible. So there are a lot of things that can happen to you, and you can't control the situation. The situation all around you is
Not at
just
all. Right.
beyond you to control.
Right.
Yeah,
You don't know how to be able to control yourself in that situation because you're
sadly.
opening yourself up to something that you
Don't even
more
know
like
about.
you open it your child or your child is opening up to themselves but that they're not prepared for. You haven't
Yep.
prepared them for it. They haven't experienced anything. There are stages for a reason. You go through adolescence, you go through teenager for a reason. Don't skip them. You're gonna learn
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just that one thing kind of boiled my pot, if you will, because it's like then we have the Me Too movements that happen later, where
Yeah.
it's like had you not been in the wrong place, wearing the wrong thing, and again it goes back to no, I'm not blaming you because they should have still behaved themselves. But when you put yourself in a position like that, if you're out minding your business and something happens to you, that's different. But when you put yourself in harm's way and harm happens, don't
Right.
get in my bubble, okay? I tell my children all the time, this is my
Nope.
bubble. You have a bubble. They can merge sometimes for a hug, but unless warranted, you got to get permission. If you don't have my permission, stay out my bubble.
Because it can help you like not only as a child but also as an adult.
Hmm.
You know, there's so many situations, and the world is really not a safe place, as you all know.
Hmm.
Especially like, you know, as a woman, you're so vulnerable. As a girl,
Yep.
as a lady, even
Yeah.
as an old person,
Yeah.
you're still really vulnerable. So it's very important, I believe.
Yeah.
Does any of you guys have any experience when it comes to like taking such self defense classes? Yeah,
Oh, you need to teach me.
Yeah, teach
Yes,
me.
yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah,
it is.
You didn't know how to shoot a gun, so
But I did it more as an adult than a kid. It was when I
yeah.
moved to
yeah.
Pensacola and I was in college. I went and did kung fu with masters
Hmm.
of kung fu.
Okay.
He was so amazing. I mean, but he was hardcore. Like it was a warehouse you're in Florida. Okay, they no air conditioning. You need to be conditioned with the elements, and there was no padding. When you fell, you were on cement floor. I mean, he was hardcore, and he did weapon training. So he was specific in that because women. He would talk about the statistics of women, and he was big on that. And he
Wow.
was really good about like teaching women. He would never want you to fight one on one. It would always be four against one, because he said in most scenarios women are going to be fighting more than one on the street. I
See,
have
see.
nunchucks and I have a butterfly swords and I have so yeah, I have some weapons. I mean, and
Oh
I
yeah,
will
we'll come in.
I will, the pew
We'll
pews.
bring the blow up mattress and all that. We'll
Y'all
come in.
just cook.
No,
Y'all
I
be
got blow up
in
mattresses too. It's okay. I got guest rooms too. I have two guest rooms and blow up mattresses, so you'll be fine.
You're the bomb.com girl.
y'all fight, I cook. How about that? I don't
Yeah, I'll
know.
cook. I'll do that, and I'll clean up after everybody.
I'm a
You
lover, not a fighter.
Listen, I'm no
know.
expert. I had a lot still to learn on all of the weapons, but
Hey,
you know,
you teach us
we can
all
all
the same
practice
thing you
together.
know, we'll be good.
You learn the
Yeah,
dance.
yeah,
The
it's
army.
also like a mental thing, I believe. Like if you have a weapon, you just feel safe, especially
Right.
if you're like, you know, either living alone or sometimes you end up being alone, like at home, and you know, you
Right.
just may never know. And
Listen,
I like
oh,
that.
go ahead.
Yeah.
sorry,
No,
I, would-
you're
I, would- I was just thinking, like, in case someone comes and attacks, or just someone randomly comes into your house and they see you with a butterfly knife or a sword, and then they'll just be like, okay, she's definitely prepared, and whatever they're
Right.
coming for, they'll just
I'm gonna
probably
fucking
run
right
off.
at you. I'm gonna right at you first. You gonna miss? At least I got time to figure
Yeah,
out my next plan.
That's a them cook.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah,
You know
Thank
what?
you.
I truly think. I think every woman who lives alone should have a dog. I say
100%.
really any type of warning dog. Dogs warn you and they protect you.
Yeah.
Trust me. My
Yep.
dog's the sweetest, but if you bust through this house, she will go for your face. Like, so I'm saying, like, I think every woman who lives alone should have a dog. Like, I think it's a thing.
What if they
And
don't like dogs?
documentaries where they literally passed the girl's house because she had a dog and they went to the other one. And like I always say, if you live alone as a woman, you should have a dog. It's an alert
Or
system.
just a recording of a dog that goes off and they we say, open the door.
She's like, what? Yeah.
You're not wrong. Like I always tell people, I'm like, test me. I dare you. I will. I always say, even if I die, I'm taking you out with me. And if I don't take you out with me, I will have pieces of you in my stomach for them to find. But I just know she is also protective of me because I've seen her when we're walking and like a big dude will walk by me and her whole demeanor changes. She stands
Ooh,
up like I will,
okay.
so but she's laying here
What
next.
kind of dog do you have?
She's a Great Dane.
Oh,
It's
awesome.
great. They have
Big
a
Yes.
Not greyhounds, not the skinny running
No,
one.
no, 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 no. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. The
yes,
big,
Marmaduke.
yes.
Scooby Doo.
Yes.
Scooby
I
Doo.
love Marmaduke.
I have Scooby Doo.
Yes, Scooby Doo.
especially
There you go.
just unvulnerable.
Yeah,
My
Exactly.
and
baby loves Scooby Doo. So yeah.
yeah. So I'm saying anytime my workers come to the house, they're always like, "Can you put your dog outside?" People are so terrified. I know it's just a protection. Like I'm saying, get a dog and you're gonna be okay. Get a big old dog.
Yep.
Ain't
The
nobody gonna
big
touch
So,
ones.
so
it.
from what I understand, Sydney, we need to get a big old dog so we are not left
Yep.
vulnerable and targets for people that's going to come and attack us.
Yep, because
All
they'll think
right. So
twice.
they'll think twice. All right, ladies, it has been great. I got a lot of nuggets from this, and I'm sure that our viewers did too. Catch us next time on Pretty Smart, and remember, run and scream
And scratch.
and scratch.
And don't trust anyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
Get a dog.
And Lena, you're the best. Thanks for
can
taking
I pet
host,
that dog?
girl.
Yes.